This episode of the MSP podcast is brought to you by Big Tex Outdoors. Everything you could possibly need for your firearm. If he doesn't have it, you probably don't need it. And PHLster holsters. Can't do a sub 5-second fast drill? Well, get a PHLster holster. If you still can't, well, at least you know it's not the holster's fault. And primary and secondary, the definitive source for the armed professional and the responsible citizen. Quit your bitching about all the rules and get better. Hey guys, welcome to the MSP podcast, nicknamed the Get Better podcast, nicknamed the Self-Reliant Lifestyle podcast. Why do I say self-reliant instead of the two-way lifestyle? Because guys, it's more than just training with GATs, man. It's about personal fit. It's about physical fitness. It's about nutrition. It's about your medical. It's about getting all those things on. Because you know what? No one's coming to save you. Super stoked to have my buddy Gabe Rivera on. He is part of the Orange County Sheriff's Department, the SWAT division, to be clear, and he trains more than any other human on the face of the earth, except for Tom Gorman.
Yeah.
Anyway, sporting their patch right here, man. That was very honored to receive to him for the first time that we met, but kind of went a little bit deeper than I usually do. But that, on an intro. But that being said, just excited to have you on, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, brother.
Yeah, obviously, my name's Gabe Rivera, a deputy with the Sheriff's Department out here in SoCal, Orange County, and been a deputy for about 12 years. Been assigned to our team for 8 years. I'm on our team full time. I'm an assistant team leader. We have 4 separate teams within one team, 4 different colors. So I'm an assistant team leader for green, and that's pretty much what I do on a day-to-day basis. If we're not training, we're out serving warrants or getting called out. So.
Yep. Now, I always find it interesting, and I guess before I lived in Orange County, where we lived in Rancho Santa Margarita before we moved out here to Metro DC. And before I moved there, and before I moved there, I was like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Orange County. Well, what does that mean, bro? Does that mean you're from Anaheim, but you want everybody to think you're from Newport? What the hell does that mean, right? But it truly is a county feel, right? You can drive through 15 cities in a day in Orange County. You know what I mean? So I just like the people, but and correct me if I'm wrong. So well-known vacation spots or cities within Orange County. You got Laguna, you got Newport Beach, you got Huntington, you got Seal Beach, you've got what else is big? Anaheim is huge because of Disneyland and all that. But you've got Capistrano.
Yeah, San Juan Capistrano.
What's the D? The D one I'm thinking of. Dana Point's out there and stuff like that. So a lot of awesome places, man. Bev and I, we lived out there. We lived in Santa Margarita, which was in the foothills, man. Ain't nothing happening out there but suburbia. But it was okay.
Yeah,
What's that?
They call it the Orange Curtain for a reason. We're just south of Los Angeles, north of San Diego, and it's a good place to be.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? It's also, the largest town, correct me if I'm wrong, within Orange County is Santa Ana.
Yeah, Santa Ana, right? Smack dab in the middle.
Yep. And Santa Ana got an op tempo like nobody's business, right?
Yeah, they stay busy. It's it's a sanctuary city, and it's heavily Hispanic, and crime rates are pretty high in the city. So
now you guys don't cover because Santa Ana has their own SWAT.
Yeah, Santa Ana has their own PD, and we have unincorporated areas within Santa Ana that we operate.
Okay.
But to be honest, wherever we get called based on where the crime originated. So if the suspect lives in Los Angeles or San Diego or San Bernardino County, whatever, if the crimes occurred in our area, we go out and arrest them wherever they're at. So we're in LA a lot. We're in San Bernardino, Riverside. We're kind of all over the place, but
interesting. I didn't know the counties were all like cross-jurisdictional like that and stuff, right?
You get right of first refusal. So if you have a case that's leading you into somebody else's jurisdiction, you offer that team right of first refusal. But normally, if it's your case, they'll let you serve paper. So our team will handle it. The only time it's jurisdictional is when it's an actual call out. That jurisdiction normally will handle it unless it's outside of their scope of work. and then
Yeah.
they'll request us as mutual aid to handle the call for them. So,
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't think a lot of people realize, like, there's different places. For example, Southern California is, let me put it this way, and within my own thing, like when you live, like, for example, in Vegas, right? Vegas is a city feel. Yeah, you can go into Henderson or North Las Vegas, but for all intents and purposes, it's just Vegas. It's a city feel because the next place you're going to go that's anything major is in a couple hours away. Where I live now in Metro DC in Northern Virginia on the free side of all that, it's a state feel
yeah.
between DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware. But where you're at in SoCal, it's a county feel,
Oh,
right? You don't even talk about towns really. It's like, what county you in, bro? You know, and then if
yeah.
you want to get specific, right? So it's where, you could be in any given day. You're in Orange County, San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino, LA, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
We're all close to each other too, so it's not we got large counties, but they're all within 20 minutes drive of each other. So
right, exactly. And I don't think a lot of people realize. I don't think a lot of people also realize. I mean, they hear about they hear about San Diego because it's San Diego or LA and, where all the gangsters are and stuff like that. But what people don't realize is Orange County is in the top one, two, or three most affluent counties in the country,
definitely, yes.
right?
And
And
that's what people don't realize is that having it being affluent is we get a lot of people coming in from Los Angeles County or from wherever, and they commit their crimes in Orange County, and then they go back to where they're staying. So a lot
right.
of them are Los Angeles County or from wherever, San Bernardino, Riverside, but a lot of them come into the county to commit their crimes. So
Yeah, because the wealth in Orange County is much more concentrated than it is in like LA County.
yeah,
It's much, much more concentrated in Orange County, so it's almost easier. I don't know if I'm giving a playbook to criminals out there, but you know what I mean. But
yeah.
so where you and I met, what was the first time that you and I met, man? When was that,
It
dude?
might have been at the OTOA.
Was it OTOA last year, bro?
I'm not sure if it was OTO. I think that might have been the first official time. Was no, it might have been at Shooter Symposium, the first one. I'm trying to remember, but it was right around that time frame. You tell me.
No, it was Shooter Symposium. It
Yeah.
was Shooter Symposium because I thought you were because I got
Yeah.
all profiling.
Yeah. You said
So
you thought I was part of the Miami Mafia. So.
that's right. Because you were all standing around there. For those of you that don't know what the Miami Mafia is, right? So our good friend John Dufresne, who trains with for whatever verb you want to throw in there with Aaron Cowan, also owns his own company, which Kinetic Dynamics or something like that.
Yeah.
Kinetic something, hypercritical dynamic kinetic something. Right. John Dufresne, awesome guy. Go train with him if you get a chance to, right? So he has a following. He's down in the Miami area. He has a following, and they call him the Miami Mafia, right? And they are largely Cuban. And right, so me and Bill Blowers are running the 25-yard B8 kind of contest going on, and you were standing right next to him. And I had heard of you. I guess you had kind of heard of me because I was teaching there, whatever, right? And you came up and introduced yourself. Like, oh, hey, man, good to meet you. So you up from Miami? And you're like, no, bro, I'm from Orange
Nope.
County. I'm like, oh, well, how are you part of? Oh, bro, I'm sorry. I just profiled you, man. I'm sorry.
All good.
that was awesome. It's usually the inverse for me, man. So
Yeah.
awesome. And then from there, we have probably hung out. Well, two shooter symposiums. You came to my OTOA. You came to my class in Silmar.
Yep.
And then, are you going to OTOA again?
I'll be at OTOA, but I won't be able to be there the whole week. So I'll
Okay.
be Sunday through Wednesday, I think. Sunday.
Okay, bro. All right, we'll see you then, bro.
Yep.
We'll see you, man. We get in on Monday, and then me and Jim Dexter do a 1 hour thing on Tuesday about incorporating dots, man. If you can make it, I'd love to have you come out there, man, and we'll ask you some questions as well for the audience, man, how you guys got incorporated into your unit and stuff. Awesome, man. Good. It's going to be good to see you. And who's really probably going to be excited to see you?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. So my wife Bev, she's got a crush on Gabe because he is a good looking Latin man. I'll be honest with you, man. I'll be honest with you. Anyway, before we go too far down that road, so dude, so your job right? Other than your usual awesome SWAT man stuff, certain warrants, rescuing hostages, and all that other stuff, is your job to literally like go out and get as much training as possible, bring in trainers, bring back training, and then develop the curriculum for your unit?
Yeah, so part of my task in my full-time billet on my team or throughout our entire team is to seek training, right? So I go out, I get sent out all over the place to train, and then see what I'm going to bring back as far as instructors, and not only for my team, but that started turning into the surrounding teams and just people that like to train in our area.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my responsibility within the team is to seek out training, try to help develop our training program, our standards, and our SOPs. Just constantly trying to not reinvent the wheel, but just kind of see what's out there. You know what I mean? Like, how can we get better? Is there something better out there that we don't know about yet, or is there somebody that we can bring in that's going to bring us to the next level? You know what I mean? That's just kind of where we're at within our team. It's just we're constantly looking to get better. Forward thinking is
Yeah.
something that's critical for us. So
Now that's super. I mean, so I hope I'm not. I hope Clint doesn't get mad at me here, but our friend Clint at Santa Ana PD,
yeah,
right? But that is almost the exact opposite of Santa Ana PD, right? Because
yeah,
the word shocked is maybe a little bit melodramatic, but I was like surprised to hear that I was the first outside instructor they ever brought in,
yeah,
because they have a very inclusive, in their own thing. If we can't figure it out, we're not looking hard enough within, type of thing, where you guys are like, just go everywhere,
yeah.
you know?
A lot of agencies in California are so hung up on this. Say, is it California post-approved training? And to be honest, my department's like, no. If it's good training, we're going to good training. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
post-approved or not.
Yeah.
They're willing to spend the money to get the quality product. So it's benefited us, and I've had some kickback from when we had a training lieutenant that was kind of pushing back on bringing instructors in, but our team's so separate from the rest of the department. They were like, no, it's fits for you guys. Bring in whoever you want. So
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So are you the guy that, I mean, you go like, I want to do this, and then your boss approves it, and then they send you? Is that how that works out?
yeah, so I have a full-time sergeant who he has our SWAT commander lieutenant, and
Mm-hmm.
they're very, very liberal as far as training. You know what I mean? We have a training budget, and then we have individual budgets for each deputy within the agency. So I normally talk to him, say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, and he said, hey, you're good to go as long as it fits on the calendar and we don't have something else coming up that I can't make it.
Yeah.
I pretty much got free reign to train where and when I want to. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So you're kind of the alpha in the decision process of making it. And for everybody else out there, even if you're not, Popo or SWAT or anything like that, why am I bringing this up? It's because I want you to go through kind of the mindset of how someone who trains a lot or has been given that charge, how they decide what training they need to go to do, right? Because, like Pat Mack says, man, you are the lead on your own private,
Yeah.
detail, security detail, right? So if you kind of understand how a person who has a wider scope, how they go through it, then maybe that'll apply to you. So that's kind of why we're going over this and why I had Gabe on the show. Oh, do you want to do your disclaimer just so it's out on there?
Yeah, just so everybody knows, this is obviously my opinions. I'm not representing my department and what I say. It's just what my opinions are. So
Okay.
nothing binding for my agency.
Yep. Yep. So, all right. So for example, one of the two of the companies that I know that you have brought in is Dan Brokos of Lead Faucet Tactical to go over CQB.
Yes.
Right. You've also been brought in Northern Red,
Yes.
and it has also gone over CQB with you guys.
Yeah.
Right. Why both? Why both?
So I met JD probably from Northern Red probably 4 years ago at SHOT Show, and we were talking back and forth, and I was really interested in their style of movement. It really hadn't made its way into Southern California SWAT teams.
Mm-hmm.
Our movement style was more in lines with what either LAPD platoon was doing or for us, it was LASEB, which is the sheriff's department. We work with them, and that's basically what our movement style was. But I saw Northern Red years ago. I saw their movement style and what it was based off of, and I started trying to, get into the more senior guys' ears on our team to try to change or to look what if there was something better for us to do. If what we were doing was the best thing out there, and if it wasn't, let's see what else is out there. So it started about 4 years ago, talking to JD, and I brought him out for a pistol course first. So he's gunfighter pistol class, and kind of that's how he gradually teaches his class. It's like a pistol class and then a rifle class, and then you kind of graduate to the CQB class.
Okay.
But eventually I worked it up to where I got 4 senior guys on our team to go out to an open enrollment class for them with CQB. And I wanted the more senior guys to go out there to kind of be like, hey, if they like it, then they can come back and we can kind of sell it, having them be the more senior guys on the team. So they ended up going out, I think 2 years ago, to an open enrollment course, and I'd say 3 out of the 4 loved it, and the other one was kind of like, I'm good with what we're doing right now. So they brought that back to the team. We had a round table. We went through a lot of stuff they went over. And the benefits of moving to that style of movement was apparent. So we immediately set up a contract to bring in Northern Red. They came for our entire team. They did a week long just on CQB. And that was critical as far as like establishing SOPs, just laying the foundation for everything. And I'd say, and this is funny because I tell this to JD and we had a long conversation. We still talk quite a bit, but after that week of training, I'd say 3 days into the training, the team was 50-50. Half the team was like, dude, I don't know about this stuff. I'm still comfortable with what we currently do. By day 4 and 5, 100% of the team's like, dude, we should have been doing this years ago.
Yeah, like, bro, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And there's dudes that had 20 years on the team and they've been doing a certain movement style for 20 years. And it's like, I don't want to learn something new. But when they did, it's like, you know what, this makes it so much more simple. It's predictable, repeatable under stress. And that's what benefited. And then obviously reaching out to Dan, I had a friend that knew Dan that put me in contact with him right after we had Northern Red coming in. And obviously Dan, being in that community that he comes from, knew and knows a lot of the dudes with Northern Red. So
sure, 100%.
It was seamless for us to bring him in, and he fine-tuned and tweaked some things that we were doing that benefited us, because we had questions like on certain things that we were doing that we got from Northern Red that Dan tweaked a little bit that our guys loved. So it's like, okay, we took 95% of what we got from Northern Red, and Dan really just kind of fine-tuned everything that we were doing. So we established like set SOPs and all that stuff. So it's really made us a better team, to be honest. Just how we operate.
So that's interesting, right? Because I come across guys who are just trying to check the box, right? And in that methodology, you're like, okay, well, Northern Red, yada yada, Green Berets, check, right? And then they would never have gotten to Dan because yada yada, Green Beret already did that, right? But within that, there's always going to be style deviation or group deviations down to individual deviations. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And after we took the initial contract course with Northern Red, I had a conversation with JD after the week long, and he's like, bro, we're giving you what we're giving you. You're gonna take it and turn it into what you guys are gonna do. It's not like you have to live by our playbook. You take what you take, you make it your own, and then you go from there. So, and that's what we've always done. We take and steal from everybody we can, and we implement it to what we do. So
hell yeah. And it's funny enough because and my listeners will get sick of me saying this, but man, it's so true. Ernest Langdon, the best teachers are the best thieves. To maintain honor, you give credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's awesome, man. And so it is always like it's the right thing, but when you hear dudes go, hey bros, this is a way, not the way. You make your tweaks. Now, so that segues into the thing. Is that what you're kind of looking for in an instructor? Or it doesn't matter what they if they go, hey bro, this is the way. You just take it, you take what you want and keep on going. I mean, so I guess what I'm asking is like when you take a course, how do you base it on that, man, that was a good course?
So for me, I've taken a lot of courses, but
Yeah.
so you know, like after a while, if what this instructor's putting out is jiving with, the mass in top instructors out there, and obviously it's proof in the pudding. You know what I mean? Like, you know, top instructors, they demo everything, right? And they're going to show you their abilities to shoot. But a lot of the
Uh,
instructors will tell
amen.
you.
Amen.
You do too, bro. You do.
Yeah. Amen. God, who wants to stand on a range for 2 days and not shoot?
I know.
Oh, good God.
But
Anyway, go ahead, Ross.
the proof is in the pudding. And the thing I like with different instructors is, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you say, it's not the way. This might be the best way for me to shoot, and you try to give the best ways for other people to improve their skills. But it's giving you that option, right? Because I might do something differently than somebody else does something because he has smaller hands than me, or he's forced to use a different weapon system than me, or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And it's not like, hey, you will do it this way, or you will place your finger on this part of your pad on the trigger, or vice versa, or whatever. It's more customized to kind of who you are and what your abilities are and whatnot. So,
Right.
um, and that's, I try to have an open mind coming into every course. I have an
Sure.
open mind and try to take something. I learn from every class I go to, whether I consider it a good class. I haven't really been to something that I say, you know what, that was a bad class, I wish I didn't take it, because I learned something from it. Whether it's I
Mm-hmm.
learned this is what I can do to make myself better, or B, this is what I'm not going to do because it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
It didn't
Right.
work. So,
It's right.
um,
Let's talk about that a little bit, right? And again, for those of you that don't know Gabe, I mean, he is truly one of the nicest people who shoots other people in the face that I've ever met. You really are a really, really nice guy, right? That being said, let's put that nice guy off to the side, right?
yeah.
And of those courses that didn't quite measure up, why didn't they measure up?
So I've been in courses. I won't drop names, but
No, no, don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't
Don't
need to drop. But
because they're not the
some
only ones doing it,
No,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Some instructors that and I've been to a vast majority of instructors that and a very hand select few were more concerned about how they were doing or how they were looking in front of the class than actually trying to give their time to make the class better. So individual time is critical, right? Because if you have 20 shooters on the line, another thing that kind of
Ooh.
sucks is when it is a single instructor has a huge class and you get no time, and pretty much it's just an instructor speaking,
Yeah.
and you just kind of are on your own learning as you go. Yeah,
Supervised drills.
exactly. And yeah, so you have to have that one-on-one time, and you have to have, you're paying for that instructor to improve you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not just like, hey, come here, shoot these drills, and you leave with a certificate and pat yourself on the back. If you're not getting better, then what's the point of actually going to the training class? You know what I mean? So,
Right. Right. Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
for me, my aspect of when I go to the training classes too is obviously I'm trying to be better individually, but I'm trying to take notes on how I can bring this back and how I can put this to my guys and how we
Yeah.
can overall be better, because they're not sending all 46 guys or whatever to all these classes. I might bring an instructor in for 15 guys on our team or whatnot, and then it's kind of like, okay, how can we disseminate that to the rest of the team when we have our weekly training? So
Right.
that's something else I'm trying to consider when I go to these classes.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so that's interesting about it. So how for one instructor, how many is too many in your opinion?
Uh, I think what, like 12, 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that number. As long as the instructor is on his game, and you know what I mean, he can go up and down that line and be aware of what's going on. And I know everybody's responsible for themselves, but as long as the instructor's giving that time for the students to get information from him,
Yeah.
then that's good. I've seen classes with a one instructor and 30 students, and it's
Oh.
literally like, yeah, 15. Everybody's doubled up because there was 15
Yeah.
stands in this class, and so it's like you're getting half the shooting time, and then the instructor's not even spending time with you. So
Yeah.
and yeah, so I think the time spent with the instructor, whether it's a few minutes or not, but him looking over you and saying, hey bro, I noticed this and that, based off my experience, hey, maybe try this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's
Yeah.
needed, because if not, you're just blindly going through a class and you're just shooting drills. So,
Right. Yeah. You're just doing the whole, and I always said that, and sometimes I get in trouble with that, man. I think the days of the supervised drill and coupled with the breaks and the GWAT stories, no disrespect. No
yeah,
disrespect, right?
I'm
Because
all
those
for I'm all for stories if they are kind of bringing out a learning point. You know what I mean? Like
right.
the stories that are told just to kind of tell stories, like that's cool. Let's do that after class when we're out
Right.
having like dinner and drinks and stuff. But
Exactly.
there is a lot of good instructors that give relevant stories that benefit the class. But then there's some that just like to
Well,
tell
as long
stories.
as there's a purpose, right?
Yeah,
For
as long as
example,
there's a purpose, I'm good for it.
there are instructors out there that will give you a story to do, and it may not be relevant to what you're doing right there, but it breaks the monotony of the serious business
Yeah,
we are doing right now.
yeah,
And I'm okay with that. But if class starts at 9 and first shot breaks at 10:30 and then 15 rounds are down range and then we got to hear about some story,
yeah,
maybe, and again, I'm doing this, again, I'm always learning. My classes are always evolving. I think you could tell that the
yeah.
little nuances that have changed as I've been doing this across, for a couple of years now, they change. Everybody can learn from this, and that's what I want to do. I want to learn from this. You know what I
And
mean?
that's the reason why I've taken your class, I've trained with you so many times, is because you don't get the same thing every single time. You know what I mean? Like there's always tweaks and differences. It might be the same foundationally or fundamentally, but you're still
Yeah.
getting that much more. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I'll take the same class over and over and over again, whether it's a basic class or an advanced class, because you might not be picking up on something that you missed the class before, but now it's
Yeah.
kind of like the way
Because
the way people.
I've asked you that
Yeah.
before. It was like at Shooter Symposium, I was like, bro, this is reiteration of day one Super Capac. You good with that? It's like, yeah, bro, I'm good. I'm like, let's do it then. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
and maybe that's just me, but I like hearing the same thing over and over again. It might just take longer to register for me, but it also too the way somebody says it. They might say it one way,
Yep.
and my brain kind of interprets it wrong, and then I hear it the other way, and it's like, okay, cool, that makes sense, and I can actually implement that into what I'm doing.
Right.
So
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I think that's great information for other trainers out there, man. How to shore up their own stuff or tighten up their own stuff or just change and develop their own stuff. You
yeah,
know.
most of the top instructors that I've gone to, they'll straight out say it's like, hey, I'm constantly evolving. They're training themselves,
Yep.
and two, they're putting on a lot of courses and they're learning as they continue to teach these courses. So the courses are slightly tweaking. You know what I mean? It's not the same course 15 years ago that you're getting 15 years now in the present. It's a
Right.
class that's constantly being involved and being made better. So
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So let me ask you this, man. So what's the when you take a course, what's kind of like the how can I put this importance waterfall, right? So you're taking a course. Are you like, oh, I think this will help my team, or is it this helped me, so it should help my team? Does that make sense, man? Like,
yeah, it
because you
does.
can only think of one thing at a time, right? You don't have one
Yeah.
set of priorities at a time. Otherwise, you're hopping back and forth and nothing happens,
Yeah,
right?
ultimately I look to improve myself individually first, and then I would like to take that information that I've gained and then try to disseminate it within the team. So I'm looking obviously how I can improve myself first. That's kind of how I approach it, and that's why I'm going to a bunch of these training classes and trying to learn new information or trying to just fine tune what I already have, and then
Yeah.
I try to see how I can implement that to the team, because I got a team of 46 dudes, and not everybody's the same, right? So
Yeah.
not everybody's gonna shoot the same way I shoot. A lot of people have been shooting for a long time, and I can't just say, hey, bro, you need to trash everything you've learned for the last 20 years and just do it this way. So I just try to learn different ways to try to make everybody better, and then that's for the most part that's how everybody is. We try to keep
Yep.
an open mind within the team, saying, hey, dude, like nobody's perfect, bro. Like nobody, we're not all Robbie Lathams and Max Michelle's and stuff on our team. It's like, no, we're nowhere near that.
Yep.
But that's where we try to strive to be. We try to be the best that we could possibly be. And it's helped with just setting standards, right? So if you
Right.
don't have standard, it's like, why are we doing what we do? There is no set standard for us. So,
dude, you're right in the segues in, man. This is awesome. So you got two of them there, one standards, two competition guys,
yes.
right? And how they apply to you, right? One, let's talk about standards. Well, one of the ways that you can take things back that made you better and applying them to everybody in your unit and your team is did you come up with your new standards that
It
you
was no. So I was part of the new standards, but when we brought in Northern Red, and I've
yeah
had instructors and other teams, kind of like FBI HRT. I've taken some of their stuff. A lot of stuff was from Northern Red standards and the local LA FBI SWAT team. We played around with different standards, and we just wanted to make something that's like, hey, these are the baseline standards that we would like everybody to be able to meet. And then you take those standards, because we go into a shoot house or we go into a live operation, and I want to be able to make sure the dude standing to the left and right of me has a bare bones, capabilities to do what we need to do when we're in a stressful situation. So, and that's kind of how the standards thing came up. We have standards for, shooting. We have standards for physical. We have standards for, our application of CQB. There's a bunch of stuff that we just need to pretty much set as a baseline and say, hey, if we're not
yeah
here, then you can't operate. You can't go on a call out or whatever. So,
now that being said, what I will say my wheelhouse is on pistol, and training. That still sounds weird coming out my mouth, right? But having started to train more and more departments and agencies and yada yada, and having seen their standards, your all's standards are spicy.
yeah, and then there's a reason for it. It's not to the point where our rifle standards, for the most part, everybody on our team is there.
Yeah,
Pistol, we're not the whole team's there yet, but that's what we're striving to be, right? So
yeah,
we had to have the entire team shoot it and kind of see where everybody was at, and we had to tweak some things, but it's still something that we want to achieve and we want to get there. So, and that kind of establishes how we train, because we train every week. The entire team trains every week, and by having us shoot the standards and kind of see where the entire team's at, and then we start working towards those individual things to make everybody better.
right,
Before we had the standards, kind of like, hey, you just come out, you shoot a very basic qual, you meet the California Post standards or whatnot, and like everybody's hunky dory, and then you just train. But it's like, how do you know you're getting better? Like, how can we document that we're getting better? Let's have a set amount of standards that are, achievable, but they're hard. And, we document, hey, this is where we're at. This is where you were at last quarter. This is where you're at this quarter. This is where you're at the next quarter. And are you getting better, or are you maintaining your skills, or are you getting worse?
right.
So that's just kind of where we were at.
So, but you had to be an integral part of that, because part of it is like when I say my standards in the class, right? I go through the national level, the class level, and then
Yeah.
my patch level. And I always go get that look of, yeah, bro, go find a couch and fornicate with it, right? and then I demo it and they're like, oh, so it's
Yeah.
possible. And then I show them the technique to do it, and they're like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah.
Right. In your department, because I know you can do, at least on the pistol side of things, and I'm sure the rifle side of things, but from what I've seen, where your stuff is, there's like a couple like from the low ready,
Yeah.
right?
It's the compressed high ready. Yes.
Compressed high ready, you can do that from the draw,
Yeah.
right? So you've got to be like, well, check out Gabe, he can do it more harder, than that. So it's possible. So you
Yeah.
don't give them an escape of, oh, dude, this is not possible. What are you doing to me? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And I'll be the first to say I'm not, I'm one of the better shooters on our team, but we do have some shooters on our team that have the abilities to do, and they train too, but we do have shooters that have the ability to shoot, and that's where we're trying to just like kind of push it out to the dudes that, and don't get me wrong, we have guys on our team that just, they shoot because we have to shoot, and it's not
Yeah.
like their hobby, right? It's not like what they do in their free time or whatever, but they
Sure.
shoot every time we shoot. But then we have the other side where it's like, dude, they're shooting on their days off and their weekends and stuff like that. And it's one, because it's their hobby. Two, it's because their job. And, three, it's because what we're paid to do for the most
Right.
part.
Right. But if you set that high standard and
Yes.
that baseline of skill, that just makes everyone else's job easier and safer.
Yes.
And safer when you have that confidence that, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So what,
And yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so what we try to say is like, we try to be as predictable as possible, and turns into being controllable. When you control things, you can actually free your mind to think about other things, right? So
Yeah.
if I have my basic pistol skills down, my basic rifle skills down, I go into a house and I'm doing, my movement style or whatnot, and I'm trying to think about the problem solving that needs to occur. I don't want to be thinking about, hey, you know, side alignment, trigger press, follow. I don't want to be thinking about any stuff.
Nope.
You know what I mean? I need to free my mind up to think about more critical decision making skills. So,
Right. Solve the
and that,
problem.
yeah, exactly. And that's why I want to have somewhat high baseline of where my standards need to be. So I know that I don't have to worry about all that stuff. You know what I mean? I might have to, depending on what situation we find ourselves in, I might need to concentrate a little bit more if it's a critical shot, but
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there, like press, trying to concentrate on air my sights aligned. That's not what I'm
Right.
thinking about.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yep. So let's get back to the other thing, right? What is your view? And I don't know if you have, but being so close to Arizona, where all the grandmasters live, pretty much, right? Or being so close to Taryn,
yeah.
have you brought in any competitive shooters or taking class
Oh
from his? Oh yeah, like you
yeah.
have. I know. That was a
Yeah.
loaded question. I know the answer to that, but like who have you trained with, if you don't mind me asking, that are strictly competitive guys?
Robbie Latham, Jerry Barnhart, JJ Racaza, um, Ben Stoger. Shoot, there's a bunch. There's a bunch on there.
Well, let's just start there. Let's just keep that funnel right there, man. What'd you learn from those fucking gamers?
That one, they're freaking they're unrealistically good at what they do. They can
Yeah,
phenomenal.
man. Yeah,
But two, it's like what I take away from the guys that do it professionally is just the way they explain things. They're probably saying the same thing, and it's funny because when I took JJ's class, we brought him in for a private, and he's teaching us a lot of stuff, and it's like, oh, I've heard Rob Latham talk about that, but the way he explained it was a little bit different, and it just registered better for me to understand it.
yep,
And they're very articulate in what they're saying and how they're explaining things. Jerry Barnhart's another one where he's or Ron Avery,
yeah.
you know,
God bless his soul. Yep.
so, um, where they're trying to explain things and they're doing in such a way that they're using analogies that I'm like, yeah, I never heard that before. I've heard it, but I've never heard it said the way you're saying it.
Right.
And I was able to pick apart and get away like the little things, the little nuggets, and I'm like, dude, I've known that, but it wasn't explained to me that way, and it's because they do it for a living. They're getting paid to do this, and it's like talking to Jerry. He's like, dude, he's like, I'm sitting on my house. He's got a range at his house, and he's like, I'm just trying to be better. I'm trying to be the best that I can when he was shooting competitively, and he's just tweaking things for himself.
Yeah.
And he's a small dude, and he does some things that is a little bit different, or Bob Vogel, shooting with him.
Yep.
They all do things that might be a little bit different, but what can I apply to myself, and how are they saying it that I can actually register the information and apply it to what I'm doing?
Yeah. I think the interesting thing, right, between those guys, right? I've never really had the pleasure to train with Jerry Barnhart before, but because he's like he's like the legend that legends speak about. You know what I mean? And I need to do that if he's still. I mean, because his teaching schedule is not as robust as it used to be, right? Or if it is,
he's still with a bunch.
he
of
does a lot of agency stuff though.
a lot of military and agency
A lot
stuff.
of mill and yeah, and high end agency stuff. But for example, if you take JJ, Ron Avery, Rob Latham, and Ben Stoger, they're all saying crush the gun, but it's how they say crush the gun, right?
Exactly.
Rob says 360, crush it all you want, blah, 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 right? But this finger is completely separate from all the other fingers, right? JJ gets into his way of talking about crushing the gun with his huge smile and his white teeth that you got to get around first to listen to what he's saying, right? And then you got Ben, it's like, no, bro, it's all support hand. And he crushes your hand with the support hand. And then you got Ron, who talks about sticky hands.
Lever, yeah.
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 Yeah. Even just the sticky hands thing. And they're all kind of saying the same thing, just a little bit differently. And depending on your kinesiology or your brain chemistry, what's going to connect?
Yeah.
What's going to connect? One of the examples I give is, for example, two completely different styles. Ben Steger, Tim Herron, right?
Right.
But they both got me to do things differently, right? Like Tim, you take Tim's class, man. He's like, hell yeah, that's awesome. High five. Let's try this.
Yeah.
Where Ben like reaches into your soul, crushes it, and says,
Yeah.
bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And you're
He's
like,
brutal. He's
yeah,
brutal. You
but he's
definitely have
fair. He's
stuff.
fair
Yeah,
and brutal.
he's fair. Definitely.
Yeah. Um, so, but why does that stuff apply, man? Why do these competitive guys shooting these open guns or these 30-pound, limited 2011? Why does that matter to you?
Because I want to learn how to shoot faster and more accurate, and that's the bottom line. I want to be able to do what I can do better, and it frees me up to think. To I don't have to worry about as much, so I can free my mind up to do other things. So they shoot fast and accurate, and that's what I want to be. I want to be fast and accurate as I could possibly be,
Mm-hmm.
having accountability, which gives me reaction time. It gives me time to think. You know what I mean? If I'm well trained, and I know I can handle myself in any given situation. It gives me reaction time. It gives me the time to actually think about the situation. Right? It's not just like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to pull my gun out and start pressing the trigger and mashing it as fast as I can. I know that those skills are done. I know that they're hardwired. I can now think about the situation. Okay, is that actually a threat to me? Do I have response times? Can I use another, avenue? Do I have to go straight to lethal force? Can I use less lethal force? Those are just things that like it gives me time to think. It gives me reaction time.
It opens up
My
your
baseline.
bandwidth. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah, and
okay.
as far as like the competition stuff, that those guys get paid to do what they do to be the best at what they can be. You know what I mean? And then you take that and then you apply it to what we do or our jobs. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think Mike Pannone said it perfectly. Like, dude, you have to be able to register what we're doing. If you're running through a stage and like you think that's real life and that's not, you have to take the elements that you're using, those skill sets that you're gaining from competition, and then just change that and apply it to what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we clear a house. We're not, it's not a stage you're running through, but those same skills that you take from running a stage, you can use those to benefit you and your guys when you're doing, room clearing or whatever the situation may be, a patrol officer. And I just still don't understand the people that say, "Hey, competition is going to get you killed on the streets." Like I still really just don't understand that, because ultimately, you're trying to shoot faster and more accurate,
Yep.
and that's
100%, man.
the bottom line.
100%. Absolutely. So, the, I had the question on the tip of my tongue. We'll probably edit this out because so much awesome stuff there. Oh, I remember what I was saying. So your individual practice,
Yes.
right? We already said that Orange County is one of the most affluent counties of. So, I mean, do you follow the Rob Latham type of philosophy on dry fire, that the best dry fire is with live ammunition on a range, or do you dry fire?
I so my dry fire is I pick up my gun. I'm picking my gun every day. So in my office, it's not a set schedule, and I don't have a routine or anything like that. But every day, I'll drop my ammunition, I'll set it aside, and I'll go to a separate room or whatever, just play with my gun, just
Mm-hmm.
see my red dot, present. Obviously, because now I shoot red dot, I do my presentations. I'm getting trigger press, dry fire. But because our SWAT office is literally on our range, I
Mm.
can walk literally 20, 30 yards and go through in some rounds and shoot. You know what I mean? So that's the benefit of that. And the fact that our team, I say we have unlimited ammo, but we have a large ammo budget for our team that we haven't, shot through. And we
Yeah.
can shoot pretty much as we want. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not ritualistic as far as like I dry fire this or that, but every day I'm picking up my gun, I'm manipulating it, and I am getting some dry fire practice. But it's not a set schedule. It's not any routine or anything like that. I'm just feeling my trigger and how it works. And
Okay. Okay. And I forget who I was talking to It was fairly recently, man, but you meet so many awesome people that, I'll probably give credit to someone who didn't say it, but they were saying, because we were talking about you, and damn it, I'm gonna say Brian Lucas, but I don't think it was. I think Brian was talking to somebody else that was talking about you, right? About how within
Brian's
the
a good
last,
dude, by the way. Just throwing it out there. Brian Lucas, Jedi, second
hell
Jedi.
yeah, be the Jedi, man. Brian,
Yep.
dude, I got it. All right, so let's talk about Brian real quick, man. So when I was out there at Tracy PD, right? Have you, dude? People, I brought this up, right? And they said, like, look, man, you must have either a really good time or a bad time, either traveling all over the place and eating out must really suck, or it's really awesome, blah blah blah. Like, what was the best meal you ever had? I go, bro, you know what the best meal I ever had, man? Was at Brian Lucas's house. His wife was there, his two boys were there, and it was Taco Tuesday.
Nice.
That was the best meal I ever had, man. I mean, dude, it was phenomenal, man. It was phenomenal. Luke, Brian, and his family they're amazing people.
Yeah, and then
They're amazing
and then on
people.
the flip side of that, like going around the country and training with people, you meet solid guys, man. It's like it's more than just getting out and training.
Yep,
It's building that community and networking and relationships and stuff like
yep.
that. And then going to get to train around the country with these dudes like Brian and Tom Gorman and all these other guys that they're just all about training. It's you build a pretty good friendship with these guys. So
Yeah, and that's the thing because we parallel in experiences a lot, right? Now that I'm going like literally California to New York to
yeah,
everything, as do you. Um, the people you meet in this industry, the tops of the people that you meet in this industry, or at least in the training community, there are no equals in other industries. There are none. The best dudes or mentors, wherever I went, like in the mortgage side, which is my day job, they're good dudes, right? But I
yes.
would not like sing a song of praise about him and stuff like that. But dudes on this in the industry, the highest of them, man, there's no equal, man. And that's the thing. And like scumbags in our industry are just regular dudes in other industries, right? It's like, oh, that dude, he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he's just trying to get ahead and make a buck. That's a scumbag in this industry. That's a
Yeah,
regular dude in every other industry. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And yeah, so it's a great experience, man. And everywhere I go, and we're talking about this because I'm sure you feel the same way, man. There are some amazing people out there.
Definitely.
Holy cow, man! There are amazing people out there. Um, so awesome. So listen, man, we're right about the 47-minute mark here. So we come to everyone else is in my favorite part of the podcast, the get it off your chest segment, right? So in this part, man, just whatever you want to get off your chest, I just set out some kind of like a guideline. You don't have to follow it or anything like that, but like, what do you think people need to do, right? And, specifically for you, what do you think like police need to do to get better? What do they need to stop doing to get better? Or anything else you want to talk about, man? Training computer industry, training, whatever you want to talk about, brother. Don't talk about your neighbors. Nobody cares about your neighbors. So,
Yeah. So for me, it's the lack thereof training. So just law enforcement in general as a community, they don't train, and whether that's the department's budget or whatnot. And I don't even hold that as being a valid point because I
mm,
remember when I first started, I came out of pocket and started paying for my own training. You know what I mean? It was
yeah,
out of my own pocket, and it's not like when you first start in the academy, you're making buku bucks. You know what I mean? And it's the pride that you take in yourself, and whether you have goals to aspire to be something else or to work in a specialized unit or whatnot. Um, what we do is it's life threatening in its nature, and there might be a possibility that you have to use this firearm to either save your life or your partner's life or innocent victim's life, citizen's life, or whatnot. And to not have that basic ability and skill set, it's kind of puzzling to me that people don't take it as seriously as they should. With that being said, I had a conversation recently in regards to my agency and how department-wide they train. In California, post requires that officers, peace officers qualify once a year. Our deputies, our patrol deputies, qualify every single month, and it's only 30 round pistol qualification and a rifle qual if they're carrying a rifle, but they're getting rounds shot every month, and they're actually training every month. And there's a lot of agencies that traveling. You talk to guys that it's like, dude, I got to shoot 20 rounds last year from my department, and it's like, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
So then you're training on your own, right? Like you're putting in the time and effort to train on your own. It's like, well, it costs money, and I understand it costs money, but how much value you're going to put on that skill set when you bring it to the table? Because you know what I mean, like you get put in that situation, you're bringing what you have. You know what I mean? You're not going to rise to an occasion and be awesome all of a sudden. It's the work that you put into and the skill set that you built inside you that you're going to bring on game day, right? So that's kind of puzzling to me. And then going into the SWAT community with different SWAT teams, and then again, it gets into that issue of agency's budget and a training time. And a lot of SWAT teams don't get to train very much. In California, obviously, there's basic post standards that say, hey, a SWAT team needs to train 8 to 16 hours, whatever, a month. But in all reality, that's not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Well, and this is not me saying this. This is me regurgitating this, right? There's SWAT, and then there's SWAT. Right? Yeah. And not all SWAT teams are built the same.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the amount of time they're putting into their training and then their operational schedule too. But training's huge. Like departments don't like spending the money to train and well equip their guys, but it might be a cost up front. But when you're not facing that, lawsuit for something that you guys goofed on, that could have been squashed in training, it's a benefit. And that's the one thing I love about my agency is that they see that, they know that we train hard and they provide us good equipment, and they know that if we get called, we're going to do our jobs and do it to the best of our ability, which is a very highly skilled and trained team. So, and capabilities are huge. You know what I mean? Like there's teams that just don't get the training time, and they'll refer to us. They might have a call and say, hey, you know what? We're going to pass this off to you guys. Are you good with that? And obviously, yeah, we'll take whatever we can. But it comes into capabilities. What is our capability and what can we handle? And if you're not training on it, you can't expect to rise to the occasion on that given day.
Yep. 100%, man. 100%. So cool, man. So people really don't need to find you, right? Or do they? Right?
Yeah.
Well, but so, dude, you're such a good dude, man. I've seen you be very, very helpful, to at the events we're at, right? Because you are I'm not going to use the word fixture, right? But if you show up at a training event, it's like, oh yeah, Gabe's here. Because you're there, dude. And God bless you, man. I've always seen you be very, very helpful, man.
And networking is huge.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
The SWAT teams and agencies and stuff like that. I've gotten hit up by agencies from all around the country just with questions. You know what I mean? Like, hey, when it comes to like red dot policy, or you guys are carrying agency arms pistols, how'd you guys figure that out? Like just small things like that. It's like, if I can help out another agency do something that they're trying to do, then dude, by all means, like hit me up, reach out to me or whatever. I'll try to do whatever I can to benefit you guys. Another thing that I get hit up a lot is instructors. So somebody might hit me up, most recently Orlando, Florida SWAT team, or not Orlando, it was Orange County. So Orange County Sheriff's Office in Florida.
In Florida, yeah.
Yeah, in Florida. They hit me up and said, hey, dude, like we're considering bringing out some instructors. Who do you recommend? You know what I mean? Like, and for this topic or whatever. And that's kind of been what I've been getting hit up a lot. And then more so with CQB stuff. So as far as like Dan and Northern Red and a lot of the people teaching that style of movement, I'm getting hit up by a lot of teams, especially locally and all over, asking questions about it. It's like, okay, we understand that that's coming from, the special forces community, but how does it apply to local SWAT teams, and how are you guys implementing those tactics to your everyday calls? And that's kind of where we said, okay, we took all this stuff, we compile it, we've been operational with these tactics, and this is how we apply them to our everyday work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where, we get asked a bunch of questions in regards to it, because it's at least in our area down here, down south, Southern California, points of domination, or that style of movement in a room,
Yep.
it's not your standard. You know what I mean? On the West Coast, it's not kind of whatever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but there's definitely, in my opinion, there's huge benefits to it and how it's implemented, and we can go into a whole nother conversation in regards to that.
Yeah,
But
we'll save that. We'll save that later.
yeah,
I'll
definitely.
have like Brokos and Blowers and Jose
Yeah,
Gordon on here,
definitely.
talking about that stuff, man, because that's not my lane. I dig it, but
Yeah.
it's not my lane, man. I will tell you, dude, I went out and trained with Jose Gordon for 5 hours, and we were doing, dude, it was awesome. It was awesome, man. Um, so, so people do want to find you, right? Because there's only a couple of active dudes out there. I mean, by active, I mean on the force right now, right? That have been instrumental in implementing the red dot. So you will help them if they reached out to you, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, because the main dudes out there. I mean, Blower's just retired, but he was
yeah.
instrumental in getting dots, onto his unit. Jim Dexter has the awesome program. I'm not, Aaron's is amazing, right? But he's not current Popo right now, right? And things ever change. And then, I think I already mentioned Jim Dexter,
Yeah.
and his stuff right there. But being in a how can I put this? Well, you guys are all kind of in your own. Orange County is not quite 100% liberal leaning, but it's getting there.
No. It used to be one of the most conservative counties in the
Dude,
United
that's why it
States.
was called the Orange Curtain, man, because it
Yeah,
was
they weren't
like
sure.
liberal, conservative, liberal.
Yeah.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? It's still really the only county in all of California where they don't say it's shall issue,
Yeah.
but it's shall issue.
Yeah. San Bernardino and Riverside are pretty good with that too.
Are they? Are
Yeah.
they? Okay,
But
good for
Orange
them.
County is, our sheriff's is he's a gun guy, so
Yeah,
we got lucky. So
yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, so you're okay if people reach out to you, see how you guys got it implemented with
yeah,
your
I'd say
unit
probably
ideas.
the best way to reach out to me, which most people reach out to me this way, is through our team's Instagram page, the at OCSD SWAT.
Okay.
I get hit up all the time by teams and agencies in regards to just, hey, I see you guys use this gear and equipment. What do you think of it? And do you have contacts? Or, hey, I see you guys training with these guys. What do you think? And that's where I get a lot of the questions, and then it'll forward it to my email, so
Yeah.
I can respond to all that stuff. So
Awesome, man, because it's just about making other people better, right?
definitely.
It's making about the good guys getting better. So awesome. Okay. Well, cool, man. Any other parting words out there, brother? What are you doing these days? So I'm going to see you in about a week or so at
Yep. I'll see you
OTOA
at
at the Ohio
the
Tactical.
Yep.
Good
And
deal.
then yeah, I'm still gonna be out and about around this United States this year, trying to look for different stuff. And I'll probably be at your class in October when you come down here in LA, and then see if I
Awesome.
can.
I was wondering if because Richard, I talked to him today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, when I stop recording, we'll talk about that and stuff like that. Love to have you back there because it's a 3 day.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. So,
Yeah, dude.
but I'd also like. I know you did the Santa Ana private course. I also like to see
Yep.
if I can figure out to, if you're not busy, to get you out for some of my guys on our range. So we'll see.
Doesn't matter, bro. Doesn't
Cool.
matter, man. I'll be there. I'll be there, dude. Because, dude, for no other reason, the fact that I love you to death, man. But 17th Street
Yeah.
restaurants, bro.
Yeah. Like
I'll
North
say this. I'll say
Carolina.
this for the audience, man. Dude, when after TD1, Clint and I went out to some restaurant in Santa Ana, like around 17th Street, man. That's the thing, dude. You just can't get good Mexican food out here, bro. You can get close, but it's the Peruvian interpretation
Yeah.
of fajitas. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Being in Santa Ana is almost like taking a step into a little being in Tijuana or something like that.
oh, dude, it's just
It's legitimate. So
it's wonderful, man. It's awesome. So yeah, anything you guys need, bro, just let me know and I'll be out there. So cool. All right, guys. So listen, man. If you're a civilian, right? If you're a responsibly armed civilian, listen to what Gabe is saying, man, about his mindset and how he gets better. Yes, it's his job, but it's not because I know the dude and it's his passion. For police out there, whether you're patrol, whether you're SWAT, whether you see, man, take what he's saying, reach out to other agencies that are doing things that you like, and someone's going to reach out and help you out, right? Because the most important thing, guys, no matter what, reach out to people because you got to be good, stay safe, get training.